Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer. I am here in Santa Clara, where today the 49ers renewed their training camp after a couple days out in Las Vegas. Back in Santa Clara, day 14. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it all down for you right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. Like I said, the last couple of days out in Las Vegas, 49ers return here to Santa Clara today. We're going to get into Brock Purdy. We'll talk about Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, and everything else that stood out from today's practice session. Now, first off, I want to say I apologize for everybody that joined the live show. I'm a little bit late, had some audio troubles, so I apologize for the late start. But let's get into it. Brock Purdy, it was an interesting day for Purdy. Very efficient, effective, as we've seen him over and over this training camp. He ended up the day 15 of 19, so he completed 15 of his 19 throws on the day. However, the one thing that's been happening with Brock Purdy lately is that interceptions, and that interception bug continued to bite Brock Purdy today. We'll get into that. But before we get into the rest of the day for Purdy, what I wanted to start off with is, Kyle Shanahan told us yesterday in our conference call that Purdy will no longer be on the 2 days off, 1 day on throwing rotation moving forward. So that means there will be no more days off for Brock Purdy as it stands right now for the 49ers. But here's the thing. While he's not skipping practice and he's participating, he does still continue to be on the pitch count. There was, as I reported last week, Purdy skipped his rotation again during work with the receivers and a couple of times even during the warmups, not throwing as many passes as the other quarterbacks as a result, at least in the warm-up portion. Now, obviously, he threw more than the other quarterbacks when it came to the team stuff, but definitely a pitch count, something to watch here with him. But the bigger overarching thing with Purdy is that when he is throwing, there doesn't seem to be any reduced velocity on the ball. Still seems to be able to make all of the throws. And we'll get to it. The interception today is very similar to some of the other ones that we've seen, which is a little bit concerning. Most of his interceptions are tending to be shorter throws, not down the field, and they're typically off the mark, and that's why they're being picked off. So, if we look at today's practice, for example, opening possession of team drills, today they did a lot of work just putting the ball down at like the 40-yard line, moving the chains a little bit to give you different down and distances, but the ball never moved from that spot for most of practice. But the opening series, more plays, Purdy had one throw, and it was a completion to Charlie Warner in the right flat. Nice, easy throw, nice completion, easy way to get started in practice today. Then the next possession, he gets some pressure, forces him out of the pocket, and it's a throwaway. So a nice little completion, open up, followed by a throwaway. Then after that, there was two pass-heavy sessions that followed. And, going through those plays, it opens up with a short throw over the middle to Ayuk to open up that first set of downs. Just a nice drop back, not deep. Scanning the field, nothing's open deep. It's the check down over the middle to Ayuk for a nice gain. Then there's a little screen out to Juwan Jennings. Nice, easy completion, easy stuff for Purdy there. And then it was a really nice play. Pressure forces him to escape out to his right. As he's moving out to the right side, he finds Willie Snead down the field for a nice gain of about 10 to 15 yards. That was a nice one because we've seen Purdy struggle with balls while throwing on the move. So to see him be able to get out of the pocket, moving to his right, make an on-target throw to Willie Snead, that was a bonus or something that we haven't seen from him very often during this camp. A lot of the times when he's been on the move throwing, the balls have come up with bad throws. So this was a better one there. However, the streak of completions was halted on Purdy's next throw. I think he was throwing. It was either Troy Fumagalli or Willie Snead that he was working on, running across from right to left. It's just a crossing route. Talon Hufanga was behind him, and Purdy's throw was off the mark. Hufanga was able to reach out, tip the ball up to himself, catch it, and take it the other direction for a pick six. So, this is now 4 interceptions in the last 3 practices. He had an interception in each practice out in Vegas, 2 in the second practice in Friday's practice session. He had 1 on Thursday and now 1 again today. So that's 4 in the last 3 days. And this seems to be an issue. It's something that's, we got to keep an eye on. If this kind of thing continues into week 1, it's going to be a problem for the 49ers. One of the biggest benefits that Brock Purdy gave the 49ers, other than his improved play down in the red zone, getting the ball out quick and on time, was that he didn't turn the ball over last year. I think that was one of the biggest pieces of Brock Purdy's success with the 49ers, and their success with him out there was that they were he wasn't making bad decisions. And today, not a bad decision, it's just a bad throw. And I think that's the more concerning piece, is that he's not making bad decisions. The decision-making process is there. He's just missing on some of these throws. And this is one of those that you've got to make that throw. You got to get it out in front of your receiver. And this is what happens when you throw the ball behind guys. And we've seen that a number of times from Purdy during this training camp. But as we talked about yesterday when I did my film review of the game for both Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, this is practice. We're not in game situation. And even if it was a game, you make a mistake. Now, how quick can you bounce back? You screw up. Okay, I made a mistake. Now what am I going to do? How am I going to correct that? So he does that, comes back right next on the next throw, drops back to pass. Christian McCaffrey running up the seam on the right side, puts it on him for a big gain, right down. That opens up that next series of plays. Demetrius Flanagan fouls in coverage on McCaffrey, and Purdy put a really nice one right down the seam for a nice one there. So good open for that next series of downs. From there, a little screen out to Ty Davis-Price. And then you see another nice ball that requires some strength, some arm strength. Not, the 49ers don't throw 20, 25-yard outs usually. If they're going to throw those kind of outs, are more of corners. Today was a nice 15-yard route to the right side to Brandon Ayuk, just a deep out on the right side. Put it on him. Nice completion from Purdy to Ayuk. So, you see the positive, you see the negative, and then you see him bouncing back. And that's kind of the biggest takeaway, is you see the ability to bounce back from those mistakes, really being a positive there for Brock Purdy. So, a good performance overall. The interception, not good at that point. He's 7 of 9 through practice at that juncture. Then they go into they have their special teams break, come out of that special teams break, and the focus today was on third down situations. And so what they're really doing was setting it up on third down across the 50 at about the 45-yard line, trying to convert there and go for field, and then they're kicking field goals from there, kind of thing. So Purdy opens that up with a completion on an in route to convert a 3rd and 4. So his first possession, 3rd and 4, connects, first down, bring on Jake Moody, kick a field goal. The next one, 3rd and 8. Purdy shows quick hands. The ball was down. It was a low snap from Jake Brendel. The quarterback is able to pick it up, get a hold of it, and without even getting his hands on the laces, just wing it out to Christian McCaffrey on the right side for a gain of 9, and that picks up another first down, sets up another field goal. So, right away, they're doing pretty good on these third down situations. Now, you look at it, it's 3rd and 12 to open up the next possession. And this is where Purdy almost makes his second big mistake of the day, his second interception of the day, actually. Drops back to pass. He has Deebo Samuel running a short in-breaking route to his left. Purdy's throw a little bit off the mark again. Deommodore Lenoir gets a hand on the ball, almost intercepts it. The ball bounces out of his hands. Deebo Samuel is able to make the grab for a gain of 5. So you get lucky on that one. You come back on the next play, and it's a quick sack of Brock Purdy to end the downs. So that's that possession. You get the one throw to Samuel, near interception by Lenoir, good play. Ends up being a completion for you. We've seen how that works with the 49ers here this training camp and preseason. Then in the final third down possession for Purdy, opened up, he finds Juwan Jennings on a quick out to the left side. I think it was a 3rd and 4 situation. Yeah, it was 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. Drops back to pass, quick out to Juwan Jennings for a gain of 5. It's going to be a first down. However, the refs drop a flag for illegal formation, so it's a 5-yard penalty. Move it back. Now you've got 3rd and 8. As the shred-it truck starts to do its work across the way, on 3rd and 8, Purdy drops back to pass. There's pressure coming, and instead of standing up in the pressure and getting the ball out, he's falling away, throwing the ball to Christian McCaffrey, who's running a wheel route up the left side. Because he's falling away, doesn't get anything into it. The ball lands short of McCaffrey, doesn't get to him, and it's an incompletion. So, three decent possessions, one not so good one. That one, I'm not even sure on that one if that one was where I had put that last one. I think it's good because it opened up positive, but you get a negative on the next one. So a little bit up and down for Purdy there. Then you end the day with a move the ball period for the first team offense. They end the day on a move the ball. They get a run for McCaffrey ends up with a net loss of 3 yards. So now the starting offense has 2nd and 13. On 2nd and 30, second and 13. Purdy throws out to the left to Deebo Samuel, who drops it. Now you're left with 3rd and 13. Got to push the ball down the field. Purdy tries to get it downfield. There's nothing open. He has to check it down to Charlie Warner. They pick up 5 yards, and it would have been a punt. However, they go ahead and they continue the possession. So that possession is over. They just restart with a new set of downs now at the 45. Much better finish to practice for the 49ers and Brock Purdy. So on that restart at their own 45, 1st and 10. This time, Purdy play action to his right, rolls out to his left, plants his feet, wheels around, and throws a strike to Deebo Samuel to the right side for a gain of 22. Nice deep ball. The fact that he's rolling to his left, able to plant his feet, turn around, get that throw back the other direction for 22 yards, a really nice play by Brock Purdy. Now you come back from that, you get a run for 4 yards, a little screen to Kyle Juszczyk that picks up just one that we'll talk about in a second. And the 49ers offense is facing 3rd and 5. This is where Purdy, I think, makes his second big throw of the series. Then he drops back to pass. He connects with Brandon Ayuk up the right sideline. Vertical route for Ayuk, who goes up and makes the catch over the defender. Lands inbounds for a really nice pickup of 24, right down to about the 5-yard line. So a couple of big throws from Brock Purdy to end practice. Like I said, you look at the numbers, 15 of 19. That sounds really good. You look at the results for the most part. It's not too bad, except for the interception. You can't do that, right? You can't have the turnovers. That's the big mistake for Brock Purdy, are these turnovers that he's having, and he's got to knock those off. Because if that stuff carries into the games, especially during the regular season, now you're looking at the issue. So, again, Brock Purdy, 15-19 on the day, an interception and a near interception that results in a completion. So East Coast Red and Gold Podcast says, "Hi Jack, hey, good to have you on board." They also say, "Hit that like button, please do hit that like button." Papa Phil says, "Thanks Jack for your great work." Hey Papa, thank you for tuning in. Trock Talk says, "Jack, the Truth Hammer, love the non-biased reporting, just good football breakdowns." Thank you, I appreciate that. We got Luke in the house, a member of the Toolbox. That's why he's got the $ next to his name. He says, "Hey everyone." Yeah, a little bit of a rough day for Purdy. Like I said, breaking it all down. You've got for the most part, he's most of the time he's doing fine. But then it's the 1 or 2 bad throws that just really throw everything off. And he's got to, you're never going to have a quarterback be perfect, but he's got to stop throwing the interceptions. That's the thing. It's a daily thing right now, and we need to see that stop. TZ wants to know how the offensive line was. How many pressure sacks would there have been if counted? I had 1 sack of Brock Purdy for sure that would have counted. Beyond that, it's hard to tell. There's pressure. He's moving around at times, so I'm not sure. Those are we'll get a better idea of that when the starting offense gets out on the field for a game. We'll go from there. I think right now, Papa Phil, I think we're looking at 8 interceptions overall through the course of training camp so far. 14 days total, 8 interceptions. Out of those 14, he's missed a few, so I think he's had 11 practices, so 8 interceptions in 11 practices or something like that. Any news regarding slot corner reps? Any for Knight or Womack? None for Knight, and I don't believe no. Sam Womack did not get any reps in the slot. I did put out a tweet earlier. If you didn't notice that, what I said was, the 49ers in the past, especially under back in the day when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach, they had it was like, so 2011, 2012 might have carried beyond that, but their starting cornerback would slide inside and play in the slot during nickel situations. So that might give you a little bit of an information as to something that I saw today. Was there a pick 6? Yeah, that was the pick 6, the interception of Purdy trying to hit the ball. I think it was actually Willie Snead, not Troy Fumagalli. I think he's trying to hit Willie Snead on the crossing route, and it was behind him. I think that's who it was. Looking at my notes, I'll double check right now. Back to pass, number 13, interception. I got 13 to 88 for the interception. So it was to Troy Fumagalli. So just a miss there to the tight end. You can't miss those throws. Can't throw them behind him. How many dropped interceptions? One today for Brock Purdy, and it resulted in a completion. So One dropped interception. Anyway, is Purdy throwing to same plays as Trey versus the Raiders? No, there's some of them are. When you watch them out of practice, they're running some of the same plays. But in terms of from the game from Las Vegas out to here, the answer is no. I think that would have been more last week. You're going to hear about Danny Gray if you stay on here, 916-49er. I got some Danny Gray coming up. Let's see where we are. Mick and me says, Jack is a breath of fresh air with a crazy Niner content creators. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. As East Coast Red and Gold podcast does say, it's practice. It doesn't define what one does in the regular season. It doesn't. Although last year there was some carryover, but it was only 1 week and another quarter. So we don't know what it would have actually been like for Trey Lance if he'd been able to stay on the field throughout the entire regular season. Things may have changed. How was Moody and Zane? Well, there was no Zane. It was all Jake Moody. I'm going to get to him too. I'm going to get to him in just a minute. Jake Moody, he was feeling it today. Now, so we got Brock Purdy out of the way. Again, 15-19 with an interception, one near interception. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was the first guy up today with the second team offense. He ended up completing 5 of 6 passes. His first 2 possessions resulted, just 2 pass attempts. One was a scramble, so that doesn't go down as a pass attempt. Drop back to pass, pressure, escaped, and took off with it. On a second, it was a nice little check down to Jordan Mason, and then he had a 10-yard completion on an out to Juwan Jennings along the left sideline. So a couple of nice throws there. Moving down into the third down situation as we were talking about. Now we got a big rig coming in here. Man, we got all kinds of stuff. We got shredded trucks. We got big rigs. These guys are working a lot harder than me, I'll tell you that. Moving into the third down situations, Darnold's first throw was to the right, was to the right side to Willie Snead, and A.J. Parker got there for the pass breakup. So a nice pass breakup by A.J. Parker. I should have put him further down in the notes as well, but A.J. Parker with a nice pass breakup. Parker played really well against the Raiders. So it was nice to see that continue into training camp practices here. Parker's also a guy that some of the folks that were here watching practices were saying, he's no good, blah, 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 when especially on one of the days when Brock Purdy had a really good day. Even though it wasn't Parker they were beating, that's who they kept pointing to. But he actually has been terminated on, had a good game out in Vegas. That nice pass breakup of Sam Darnold there. Now you have 4th and 4 because of the breakup, and he lets one fly deep down the right sideline. And that's the guy you guys just asked me, Danny Gray, down the sideline on 4th and 4. Danny Gray goes up and over Samuel Womack. Samuel Womack, we're going to get to him in a little bit as well, but really nice leaping grab by Danny Gray along the right sideline for a big gain. That sets up a field goal for Jake Moody. Then on the second go around, because he got 2, he just had a little throw out to the left to Ty Davis Price. It was a screen, picked up a couple yards, and they brought Moody on and kicked another field goal. So they got a lot of work for Jake Moody today during this third down situation drill. And then they get to the move the ball period. And in the move the ball period, Darnold opens up that possession with the second team offense. Picks up a first down with a couple of runs. Then he drops back to pass. He throws a strike to Willie Snead along the left sideline for 14 yards. This was his final play of practice. What was impressive about this, the defensive line got pressure. He escaped. He's rolling to his left, and he throws a strike to Snead. Snead's working, sees the quarterback having to break. He breaks back to the quarterback along the sideline. A really nice play between the two veterans for a first down. So they pick up the first down. Sam Darnold trots off the field, and in comes Trey Lance. And so let's get into Trey Lance's day. And then I'll check out your questions and comments over in the comment section. Trey Lance comes in. He follows up with where Darnold was with the second unit during that move the ball period. He also got a good number, about the same number of reps today as Sam Darnold. He ended up his day 4 of 6, did Trey Lance. As was the case for Darnold, Lance was forced to scramble on his first snap of the day due to pressure on a play action pass. Got up, took off, and took off running. Then on the opening play of the next possession, it was one of the best from Lance. I really liked this play from Trey Lance. Drops back to pass. There's pressure coming around both edges as you normally have. He does a nice job, steps up into the pocket, and lets it rip to Cameron Latu, who's running an out on the left side for a gain of 15. What I like about this is if you watch my breakdown of Trey Lance's performance against the Raiders, talked a lot about him holding on to the ball, not throwing in rhythm. And this was different. He dropped back to pass, very similar to the ball that he didn't throw in the game, right? Remember, if you watch the film breakdown, he drops back to pass, pressure around, and he takes a step up, and then there's an out that he doesn't throw. Kind of the same thing today. Pressure around the edges, steps up into the pocket, plants his foot, and then rips the throw to Cameron Latu for a gain of 15. That's the kind of thing we need to see of Lance in the games. We need to see that more often. That was a really, really nice play from Lance. A couple plays later, he would have been sacked by Jared Brown. Brown coming on a blitz. However, they let the play run through. He runs out to his right, tries to go deep to Juwan Jennings down the right sideline, overthrows him. Both of his incompletions today were overthrows on down the field balls. And then he wraps up the series with the completion to Danny Gray. A quick little screen, boom, get it out to Danny Gray on the left side. So, some good, some, not bad. Good start for Trey Lance. Then he comes on during the third down session. He gets just one series. And for him, it's 3rd and 8 when he comes on. The Friars defense sends a blitz at him. And he tries to get the ball out quick over the middle to Cameron Latu, but the pass is behind him, and it falls for an incompletion. Now facing 4th and 8, Lance would have been sacked by Austin Bryant. However, the play continues again, gets out, moves, and he finds Ronnie Bell for a completion down the right sideline. So nice throw there from Trey Lance to get to escape. But he would have been sacked, but again, that's not his fault. That was quick pressure around the edge that was just right in his face. And there was really nothing that he can do about it. It wasn't the result of him holding the ball like what we saw in the game. Then when the 49ers offense was in that move the ball period, I mentioned this earlier, Darnold had the first 3 plays. Then they replace him. Trey Lance trots onto the field, 1st and 10. It's on the 49ers, the defensive side of the field now. So they're in positive territory. First play, one of the favorites for every 49er fan, I'm sure. It's a zone read. Reads it properly, keeps the ball this time around the left side, picks up 9 yards. Nice play by Trey Lance. Probably would have been more than that. I think they just marked him down after 9 yards. But again, this was a nice one. He missed the read in the game. Again, I don't know if he was supposed to have given it to him or if it was a called keep or a called give. But here, nice, does a good job riding, keeps it around the left side himself for a nice gain. Nice play by Trey Lance there. Then he hits Ty Davis Price on a little screen out to the right side that gains that picks up a 1st down. And then the final play of the possession, Lance with some pressure, rolls out to his right, has Ronnie Bell's deep, chucks it out to him, and the ball goes over his head, and that one's incomplete. So my numbers are off a little bit here. So he's not actually 4 of 6. He might have been 4 of 7, might even be 3 of 6. But you kind of get a gist. I just went through all of his throws today. So let's count with me. So he has the scramble. Nope, doesn't count. A throwaway. A completion to Latu. I'll go through. I'll make sure the numbers are all correct because I don't think it was 4 of 6, because he had a couple of deep balls that were incomplete, and he had the one other short little one to Cameron Latu that was incomplete. So I'll fix up my numbers. Don't quote me on the 4 of 6 to any of your friends and family. They're going to think that I'm wrong, which I am. I got to get that fixed. Sorry about that, guys. Whatever. Amazing. Okay. I think that what Brock Purdy did today was overall, he was, it was fine. It was an okay day. A lot of completions. Moved the ball okay. Did good on the third down situations. Did okay in the other stuff. Hey, high completion percentage, but you can't turn it over. I think that's the biggest thing. You just can't turn it over. I did that in mine as well. Let's see what else we got. Just looking through. Northern Lights wants to know, has it been announced if Sam or Trey is starting week 2 of the preseason? No, there's been no discussion of that. We didn't get Kyle Shanahan after practice today. We get him tomorrow. So we'll ask, I'm sure that'll be one of the first questions that gets asked, is what the quarterback situation is for the game against the Denver Broncos. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. And that makes sense that he was being sarcastic, because I get it. I think that, the numbers were good. There was some good stuff about it. The interception and the interception, you got to be better than that. So that's where we go. And I agree, John. The picks could be a big problem. I agree with you. if the interceptions that we're seeing in practice continue over into the games, it's going to be a problem. That's no doubt about it, because one of the biggest things that Purdy did for this 49ers team last year was come on and not turn the ball over. And that's one of the things that they said. Sorry, I don't want to bring that one up. Cosmo, this is the one I was trying to get to. Is Latu on the outside looking in for the 53-man roster? No, I think he's right there. I think they really like, if you watch Cameron Latu, he does a lot of things good. He's a really good blocker. He's a really good pass protector, especially. He runs really good routes. He's smooth with his routes. The problem with Latu is that he can't catch the ball. Now, I got some notes on Latu for today. He had a really nice, he had 2 targets today during team. One of them was a nice catch. The other one that he didn't catch was a bad throw. So got some more notes on him in a minute. We'll get to Cameron Latu. What's my take on the quarterbacks right now? Do you think there's an overreaction to Trey's game, or is it warranted? I think if you're asking me about an overreaction to Trey Lance and a negative to his performance against the Raiders, I think there's an overreaction there. Was it good? No. Was it bad? No. His game against the Raiders was okay. There was some bad in the beginning, and it got better as the game went along. So, you know, with Sam Darnold, I felt like it started off good, and then it kind of got bad. We didn't see enough of Sam Darnold to really have him go through the ebbs and flows of a game, whereas Trey Lance got a little bit more time with the number of throws that he had to work his way out of the early slump. Now, this is a question that was asked to me a while ago. With no restrictions, was Purdy taking more shots or just checkdowns? I don't know where this notion is that he's been just throwing checkdowns throughout training camp, because that's not true. It hasn't been just checkdowns. There's been more throws that have been going down the field. So like today, you know, the first throw was a short one, but then you get into it a little bit further down. You know, the middle one, 6 yards, a throw of about 10, so 6, 10. The crosser is at about 4. Then you get plus 20, plus 15. He's one of the things with Brock Purdy. You're going to get throws underneath, but he's going to also really work that intermediate area. And every once in a while, he's going to take the top off and go deep. And we saw that taking the top off for Brock Purdy isn't always taking the top off of a defense. Isn't always a 35, 40-yard pass. Sometimes taking the top off of the defense is just being able to hit a 29-yard throw over the top. And that's one of the things, like I think with Purdy, there's been so much focus on this dink and dunk bullshit this offseason that it really misses the mark in so many ways. Because if you watch Trey Lance, when Trey Lance got going on Sunday, when he got rolling, he was hitting short throws, right? Little easy, quick, boom, boom, get the ball out on time. This offense is built around dinking and dunking and taking the shots when they're there. I think that's the biggest thing. So you got to check out my film breakdown. Don't come in here talking about other people's film breakdowns. Come on now. Okay. Anyway, so that's the quarterbacks for today. Now, some of the other guys that stood out. Talon Hufanga, obviously, all-pro safety, pick 6 on that pass from Purdy to Troy Fumagalli. They went the other direction. Hufanga was right there, trailing him across the formation. The throw was off the mark, a little bit behind him, tipped it up, caught it, and took off the other direction. So nice to see the safety make a big play there. Got to talk about Fred Warner as well. You know, sure, all-pro, another all-pro. We just talked about all-pro for safety. Now we got the all-pro linebacker, all-pro Fred Warner. He flies around the field every day. Did it again today. First play of team drills, gets out to the left side. Christian McCaffrey is trying to run to the left, to the right, gets over there, and it would have been a tackle. It was a tackle for loss of Christian McCaffrey for Fred Warner. Really nice. Then a little bit later during those team drills, during the move the ball session, he sniffs out a screen to Kyle Juszczyk, and he drops the fullback after a gain of just 1. So good stuff out of Fred Warner today. Really liked the way that he looked. Cameron Latu, you guys were asking me that. I've been talking about it a lot. I think the rookie tight end struggled a lot with catching the ball during this camp, but he was a lot better today. During the early portion of practice, before they got to the team stuff, everything that came to him, he caught. So he was much better with his hands today than he'd been throughout other days of practice. So from that standpoint, everything was hitting his hands. It wasn't bouncing off. It wasn't like second catches and those types of things like we've seen sometimes. everything that was thrown his way was sticking. And a good day for Cameron Law, too. He had one target that he was able to hold at a nice grab from Trey Lance out to the left side of the offense. So Cameron Law, too, showing up today and having a better day than we've seen. Danny Gray, another guy making some big plays today. Deep down the right sideline, leaping grab over Samuel Womack to make the catch. Darnold with a deep throw on that one. A nice leaping grab from Danny Gray. So good to see that from the second-year receiver. I really like Danny Gray. It's good to see him coming along. It was a bummer that we didn't get to see him out in Vegas. He had some injury, a little injury that he was dealing with that forced them not to let him go for either the practice is in Vegas or for the game. But it's good to see him on the field today, bouncing back and making a big play. Jake Moody. So Jake Moody, we know what happened against the Raiders. Tough performance, misses both of his kicks. Today, hit several kicks from 59 yards in. He hit, I think, 3 from 50, 1 from about 40. The only miss that he had was his last one, and it was from 61. So of all of his kicks today, the only miss came from 61 yards. That one sails wide left. But he had one from 59. He had a few from in the 50 range, one from in the 40s. All of them went through the uprights for Moody today. Nice bounce back performance from him. Another defensive player, a lot of defensive players on this list today. T.Y. McGill, wanted to shout him out, the backup defensive tackle. He had a couple of tackles for loss early. The first coming on a stop of Jordan Mason over the right side. He followed that up by getting to Jeremy McNichols on a toss out to the left. That's a really nice one considering he's a defensive tackle to be able to get all the way out there and make a play for a loss. That was a nice one from T.Y. McGill. He's a good run-stopping defensive tackle that's right there on the fringe of this roster. Alex Barrett, a guy who you may or may not know. He's been with the 49ers for a long time. Doesn't really played much in the games. He's mostly been a practice squad guy while he's been here. But today, got the better of Colt McKivitz. Blew around the edge, beat him on a speed rush for what would have been a sack of Brock Purdy. So good to see that from Alex Barrett. Safety Jair Brown made a big play today. Would have been a sack of Trey Lance. Came on a blitz. He was going to get home. He was right there. He had him dead to rights. Let up. And I think that's one of the ones where I'm not sure if on that one if Lance scrambled or if that's the one where he bounced out to his right side and then threw an incompletion. But really nice play by Jair Brown there. Javon Kinlaw with a couple of nice plays today. In particular, the one that really jumped out. He beat Aaron Banks on a toss out to the left side of the Flyers offense, his right, and he was able to chase down Ty Davis Price on that toss to the right to the outside. He was actually able to get him in the backfield. Would have been a tackle for a loss. So good stuff there from Javon Kinlaw. Austin Bryant, another guy. He beat Leroy Watson with a speed rush around the right side for what would have been a sack of Trey Lance. Austin Bryant shown speed and the ability to get around the edge several times. So good to see that again today from Austin Bryant. Then we got Samuel Womack. Sam Womack, second-year corner out of Toledo. This is a guy who's always there. He's always there in coverage. He's always tied up on guys. He does a really nice job in that. But the problem is that he doesn't finish the play. So, like, for example, today he's running deep down the right sideline with Danny Gray. He's in perfect position, but he just can't make the play. He doesn't finish it off. The ball, the receiver is able to get up and get over him and make the grab for a really nice one. So, that's my biggest thing with both of the 49ers, I guess, would be their third and fourth defensive backs right now, Ambry Thomas and Danny Gray. I think both those guys are in position a lot. They just don't finish the play too much. I think that's the bigger thing. Couple guys that stood out to me in one-on-ones. You had an interception for Charvarius Ward. He picked off a throw that was intended to Deebo Samuel. Good coverage there. And then over in the one-on-ones, a lot of good one-on-one reps for the Flyers offensive line against the defensive linemen, with the exception of Austin Bryant. Austin Bryant, again, in the one-on-ones, won twice. He beat Jalen Moore once, and he beat Leroy Watson in the one-on-ones around the edge as well. Spencer Wege, the guy that we talked a lot about in the beginning, is doing well. He's kind of cooled off quite a bit as training camp's gone along. I saw 3 reps of his in one-on-ones. Just got beat bad by a fellow undrafted rookie offensive lineman, Joey Fisher. Got the better of him in one rep, and then in his next rep, he came out against John Feliciano. He beat Feliciano but lost to Jason Poe. So Just a little bit there on Spencer Wagey, who we've talked about. Spencer Burford looks really good for the most part in pass protection, as does Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks looks like a man. So good stuff there. Let me see. Let me look and see what else we got. That's my report. Those are the notes that I have for today. I want to look at what you guys have here. We'll get to some of your Juwan Jennings. Jennings on the day had a couple of grabs. Just kind of looking through here really quick and see if I can find. Had a screen, incompletion on a deep pass. Nice completion on an out to the left side from Sam Darnold, where he beat Deshaun Jameson. And then in terms of he had a completion from Purdy on that quick out to the left side. So that's pretty much the day for Juwan Jennings. Deshaun Jameson getting some work today inside for a change. Same thing with a couple of other guys. Robert Beal Jr. returned to practice on Friday. Didn't play in the game, but he was out here today, getting his stuff going. I didn't catch any of him in the one-on-ones. Just looking through, I didn't see him at all in the one-on-ones. I wasn't watching every single rep because I was kind of looking back and forth between the offensive line and the DBs. I was trying to watch both at the same time, so I didn't catch every rep of that series. Let's see what else we got. Thank you, Edgardo. I appreciate it. It says keep up the great work. I don't think this is going to happen. Truck Talk says prediction. Juwan Jennings is traded and Danny Gray slides in number 3 row. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Juwan Jennings is solidified with this team right now, especially with the injury to Ray McLeod. The 49ers have they have an extra spot now on their roster for at least the first 4, maybe 5-6 weeks of the regular season. Juwan Jennings isn't going anywhere. Juwan Jennings' contract runs out at the end of this year. It's going to be a similar situation to what they had with Kendrick Bourne. Juwan Jennings is going to finish this season out as a 49er, and then next year he'll be somewhere else. They're not going to be able to re-sign him. He's going to be too expensive. Let's see what else we've got. Real quick, just kind of looking through. Edgardo wants to know about Jair Brown. How's he looking? I think Jair Brown's looking good. You saw him in the game on Sunday with a couple of tackles. I see him around the line of scrimmage a lot. Here in practice, he had a really nice blitz today where he would have sacked Trey Lance. So that's good stuff there. Cosmo says, Jameson, he was electric with returns on Sunday. I agree. I thought that he was the better between him and Ronnie Bell. I felt that Deshaun Jameson looked better on the kick returns, kicks and punts. Dink and dunk is the cornerstone of the West Coast offense. It is. Was Brock trying to hit tight windows? I don't think Purdy is necessarily trying to hit. I don't think his interceptions are a result of him trying to hit tight windows as much as it is him just missing the throws, making some poor throws, and when he's making these off the mark throws, they're going right to DBs. You can't do that. Drake Jackson out. Is he out due to injury? No, he was back on the field today. I don't remember seeing him on the field during the team portion, but I know he was on the field earlier on getting some work, and I don't know how much work he actually got, though. Robbie 439, Jack, I see a debate on Twitter. Do you think Brock is the best quarterback on the roster? No offense to you, Robbie, but I think this is a weird question, not because it's from you, but I see this debate on Twitter, and I'm going to reiterate now what I've already said on Twitter. Anyone who's watched 49er training camp up to this point who comes away with thinking that Brock Purdy hasn't been the best quarterback on the field to this point in training camp doesn't know what they're watching. Brock Purdy, when he is playing, is better than Sam Darnold. He's better than Trey Lance. Yes, he doesn't have the measurables of Trey Lance, so he doesn't have the big arm. Yes, he doesn't have the size of Trey Lance, but he gets the ball out, and he usually gets it to the right spot. Every once in a while, as we've seen in this camp, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but he has been the better quarterback overall so far during training camp. Brock Purdy, is he the best quarterback on the roster? When it comes to NFL quarterbacks, yes. Trey Lance, unfortunately, you know, the deal was that last year was supposed to be his year. And, you know, the struggles that you've seen with him, it's rough. Because of the injury last year, really threw him back. You know, that first year, I felt good about the progress that I felt like he made. I felt like he really got there, and you saw that in the game against the Texans. I felt like that was a good performance. I felt like the time that he had taken off helped him get better. Not the time that he taken off, but the time that he wasn't playing. And that's the same thing with Brock Purdy. Some people have said that, well, if he was the best quarterback last year, he should have started day one. But he shouldn't have. Brock Purdy wouldn't have been the best quarterback on the 49ers roster last year if he started day one. He wasn't ready to start at that point. He wasn't ready at that spot. So that one doesn't fly with me. Really just based on training camp. If you had never seen any of these guys play before, yeah, no, Brock Purdy is getting the ball out and he's moving the team. He moves them smoother than the other guys. Most of the time, he's been having a little bit of struggles these last couple of days, but he's also playing with the starters, against starters. That's a difference. People are reporting that Bosa might miss games. Have you heard anything? No, I haven't heard anything to this effect. We're still a month away, so a month from yesterday was week one. So I think any thoughts that Bosa is going to miss games right now a little bit early. We'll see how it works from there. Let's see what else. I disagree. I think that when you look at the numbers, Sam Darnold has put up really good numbers, but Sam Darnold also, for the most part, isn't pushing the ball down the field. Everything's short. So, you know, there's a lot of talk about Brock Purdy being a dinker and dunker. The guy that's dinker and dunker would be more of Sam Darnold, and that's why he has the numbers so far. I don't get into it, but he's just been more of his stuff has been on the underneath variety. Drop back, he gets the ball out of his hands quick, but sometimes he's not taking the shot down the field that's open. So that's that's my hesitation with Sam Darnold. He's not taking some shots that are there. I think there's a couple of times where if he tries to push the ball down the field, there's some bigger plays to be made. He's not trying those. And you do see the ball with Brock Purdy go down the field a little bit more than the other two quarterbacks. When I say down the field, I'm just saying not check downs, throws in that 10, 15-yard range most of the time. Let's see what else. Robbie says Bosa deal needs to get done before it turns into a bigger distraction. It's not a distraction right now, at least with the team. I don't think. You know, the players on the field don't seem to be distracted by the Bosa thing. We'll see what happens with him. 916 49er says, was Brandon Allen there today? No, he's not. Brandon Allen is back home with his wife. They're expecting a birth of a child. He's supposed to be back here, I think Friday is the day that they said. So no Brandon Allen at practice this week. It's just going to be Brock Purdy. As we talked about, the restrictions on Purdy have been lifted. He's going to be playing. There's no off days for Brock Purdy moving forward. And then I'll be worried if Bosa is not signed by the end of next week, maybe a little bit. And then last one real quick, Dana N. Rose says, how did Latu do today? Much better. Didn't drop any of the passes during warmups. One target during team drills, and he brought that one in. So some good stuff there all around. Like I said, you look at the 49ers quarterbacks today, 15 of 19 with an interception for Brock Purdy. A highly efficient day, but he needs to just stop turning the ball over. Got to stop doing that. Can't have that. Trey Lance, decent day. Same with Sam Darnold. Both of them, Darnold 5 of 6, and I had 4 of 6. Probably 4 of 7 was what the numbers were for Trey Lance. I'll get those. Made sure I get those correct before I put out the numbers officially before the game on Saturday. So there's the show. Hey, real quick, thanks so much for watching. I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. If you can do me a favor, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Make sure slam the like button. But then after that, if you're watching this show and you're not already subscribed to Inside the Farms with Jack Hammer, hit that subscribe button. Once you hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. You want to make sure you have your notifications on. Right now, during the off season, during training camp, I don't have a regular schedule. It just depends on what time practice gets done, what time I can get my write-up done, and what time I can get out here. And then it pops up. So if any of the new updates and content that come out, you're going to want to have the notifications turned on so that you know. It'll let you know when I'm going live. It'll let you know when there's new content available. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe, like. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate everybody for making the time to check this out. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with day 15 of 49ers training camp here in Santa Clara.